Welcome back to the Grounded in Simplicity podcast. I am Danielle from the Rustic Elk, joined by my good friend Bonnie from the Not So Modern Housewife, and we are here to help moms get back to basics and find joy in being less busy.
It's been a rough week, actually, I think it's kind of been a rough couple of weeks, but I think the struggle I get into is that when I get stressed, I get too far into the weeds, and then sometimes you have to take a step back and really look at things from 1,000-foot view and figure out what you're doing. So that's what I'm trying to focus on this week, is taking a step back and planning stuff out, because I do so much better when I actually have a plan. And I know you say you don't want to talk about it, but how about those animals that you planned for?
I don't plan. God plans. And God has other plans than I do. So
God has a twisted sense of humor is what he's got.
Yeah, God does have a twisted sense of humor. I think taking the step back can be good as long as you're not looking at everything from 1,000 feet above and trying to.
Well, yeah, it's more a matter of taking a step back to reprioritize and figure out what I need to focus on, and then break that down. I'm like a bunny rabbit. I'm jumping between all these different things, and I don't even know which way is up right now.
Well, I think, brain dumping helps me.
Mm-hmm.
Just writing everything down. Of course, with all these animals, I haven't slept in 2 nights because I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, we need to do this. And now we need to do this. And guess what? I need to pay my taxes. And let's think about math at 3 a.m.
Well, mine has been budgeting. So I'm not that far off from you. I just don't owe taxes.
Oh, yeah.
So I finally got my
budget too, because now I have 4 goats and 10,000 rabbits and some geese.
So where are the new rabbits living?
We have cages.
Oh, okay. You had extra.
Yeah, well, sort of. We've got our grow outs are getting ready to get butchered.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 open cages when those get, well, no, I have 1 open cage when those get butchered. But I have our other grow outs in a stock tank, which is a pain in the butt. But I just clean it out once or twice a day. I just put some straw in there because that's all we had. I need to get some more cages, but that requires money.
Well, right. And I have learned that I never have enough cages, because as soon as I have empty cages, I fill them.
Right. Well, that's exactly what we did. But we had an extra cage for a rabbit, and it's not like the cage is for the rest of them, but I had an empty cage and we had an extra cage, like a single cage. And so the buck went in the single cage and the doe. When they got here, I was not prepared for them because it was 8 a.m.
Right.
And I hadn't moved stuff around yet. And I didn't know where I was going to find another cage. I thought I was short a cage. I'm actually not. But so we ended up putting them together so they could mate, which was a good idea in theory. But it wasn't such a good idea when we went to remove one of them from the cage and put it in the other cage, because she got pulled out of her cage and been put in a pen to get here.
Right.
And then she got stuck with that buck. And I mean, they weren't together very long. It happened immediately. So.
But still, she had enough chaos for one day, and she was over it.
And so Trevor went to grab in there to get her out. And of course, she's real sweet now, but she wasn't yesterday. He went to grab in there and he didn't think to wear gloves because we grab our rabbits all the time and it's not an issue, but he should have worn gloves. So
yeah,
he ended up putting gloves on and picking her up and petting her and getting her to calm down.
Well, we've got 2 Californian does with litters right now. And the one mom, she's been dubbed Mean Mama. And so she's just the one that she lunges at you every time you reach into the cage to feed her or anything. So of course, she's the first one we breed, because that makes sense. But I've been trying, I've actually been doing really good with being able to get in there and pet her and calm her down without having to wear gloves.
Our silver fox does, we bought them together, and they're not litter mates, but they were at the same farm. And the hutches, the way that they were set up at the time, one could actually get up over into the other because they're all connected. And we didn't have a board up at the top that was high enough, and it's a rabbit, so of course they just jump and scurry over. So they stayed together for a really long time, and then we fixed it and bred them, and I thought we had it fixed, and then the one doe ended up getting over into the kits of the other doe, and that did not end well, because we ended up with 2 that died. But we made sure that they can't get in each other's cages now, but I think they miss one another.
Oh, that's the hard thing with me with raising the rabbits for meat, is I get attached, and I've always had rabbits as pets, so getting past that mental hurdle is a challenge.
Right.
But that's the plan.
Mine are ready to butcher, and they're still there.
Yeah. Well, that's these 2 litters we have now. We have 3 in one litter and 5 in the other, and they're 2 weeks old now. So I might be able to tell what genders they are, but I don't know. I'll probably wait till they're a little bit older before I really try to look. And I think the plan is going to be probably to eat the boys, and then we may just sell the girls, because we've had a lot of people asking for girls.
We have the 3, and I'm done with breeding them. The one doe is pregnant. The doe she was the best mama, and she didn't lose her condition at all.
That was the first, the one who had the first litter.
Yeah. And I thought she was going to be a terrible mom. I guess that's what I get for judging her. Yeah. But anyway, the other one was a good mom too, but she lost her condition, and now it's going to start to get I'm afraid it will start getting too hot, although it's supposed to snow Saturday. So.
Well, that's the problem, is that it flips so fast. You go from freezing temperatures to 90s in a 2-week period.
Yeah. Although we keep doing this yo-yo thing. It was in the 70s, and then it snowed, and then it was in the 60s today. It's supposed to be in the 60s for the next couple of days, but we have snow, not anything accumulating, but if it's cold enough to snow, it's too cold for April in Indiana.
Yeah.
So no gardening is getting done because the ground continues to freeze, and I can't work the ground. So my peas are going to not go in because they're going to end up being all nasty by the time I can get them in the ground. And they start to grow, and it'll get too hot. I already know it will.
Do you already have them started?
No, because I can't put them in the ground. The ground's too hard.
Oh, okay.
It keeps freezing at night.
So I was like, you could try putting them, doing them in a container, but you'll have to put the container up against a trellis or something.
Yeah, I've started them inside before like that, and put them in little core pots so that I can just put it all in the ground. And I've had kind of mixed luck with that, because I end up not getting them trellised soon enough because they grow so fast.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might try to get some in this weekend. It's supposed to be a little warmer by Sunday, after it snows again. I won't get it done this weekend because now I have to build a goat shed.
I need to renovate my goat shed. It still has shelves in it from where we bought the shed, or the shed was given to us. But, and I'm I need to just pull the shelves out, because Matt wanted to use them for something, but that's never going to happen. So I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I'll just stick them next to his shed and be like, here you go. You either use them or they're going to rust. I don't know. Because I don't know. I'm probably not going to be able to milk because all the babies are weaning age at this point. But if I can at least get the shed set up so that I can have the stand in there, and maybe even build a little stall in there or something. I don't know. There's a lot of things I should be doing that I should be taking advantage of, and yet here we are.
Like when your husband says, well, we can go look at them, but I don't know about goats.
Famous last words.
And then we get there, and that's the first thing she asks. She's like, are you here to look at the goats? No. I don't want anything to do with goats. I don't like goats. And she's like, oh, okay. And then her kid brings the goats out. And then my kids are out bouncing around with the goats. And my other neighbor that took us over there that told me about this whole ordeal, which is ridiculous in and of itself, but that's a different story. He's like, because we had him sitting in the truck, and he's like, can your kids come out now? And I'm like, no.
Because I know how this is going to end.
He's in his 80s. He's super sweet, but like, no. Because he comes in the driveway and he's like, she's got goats. I don't want any goats. Well, you wanted a cow. They're dairy goats. I don't want any goats. And we came home with 4 goats.
You came home with 4 goats. That's like me taking my kids to go look at guinea pigs. Like, see? The girl's like, I should have all of my customers bring their kids. Went for 2 guinea pigs,
wanted her
came home with
geese.
4. Yeah. The geese are pretty, though.
Yeah. But we put buckets in our chicken run and put water in them. They're like little gallon rubber buckets, like little giant rubber buckets. And that's what we put our water in for our ducks in the winter, so that they can't swim and get their stupid butts frozen to the ground, because we've been there and done that.
Right.
So we put the water in the buckets, and everybody just drinks out of the buckets. And Mr. Honkers has decided that he wants to try to swim in the bucket. And so the bucket just tips over, and I keep having to go out there and put more water in it. I gave him his own bowl. He has a little pool that he can swim in, and he won't let anybody else in the pool. So Mrs. Honkers, and we decided to name the other gander Zeus the Goose.
Because why not?
So they don't get to swim yet, because I only have the one pool out there. So I got to put another pool
and
out
Mr.
there
Honkers has claimed that pool.
Yes, it is his. They honk every time a car drives by on the road. My neighbors are going to love me.
My guineas keep like sounding the alarm at like midnight. And like, what are you squawking at?
See, mine didn't do that when we had them. We had, they would do what Mr. Honkers is doing, but they would just continually squawk. And he just like honks a couple times, and then he's over it.
Yeah, like the guineas really aren't too bad. Usually if everybody's making a bunch of noise, then I go out and I find out there's like a hawk hanging around or something like that.
Right.
Or of course they announce sunset.
Oh, mine didn't do that.
But, yeah, all of my guineas have.
Really?
Anytime it's sunset, they start carrying on, and that's when they fly up into the trees. And I don't know if it's like they're calling everyone up into the trees or what.
Huh. Well, ours slept in the coop. We coop trained them, but they didn't ever call because it was sunset. They just they were stupid.
They're that. I actually, part of the reason I have bird netting over my chicken runs is to keep the guineas out of the chicken runs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They were pulling all my tail feathers.
Oh, no.
On my show chickens. So it's really hard to show a rooster when he has no tail.
Yeah. We didn't, I won't do the guineas again. I didn't like them. They're good for ticks, though.
Yeah, that's a big reason why we got them, was the ticks.
Yeah.
I think they help with bugs in general.
Yeah, but we didn't have any tick problems when we had them, but my ducks could eat them, I guess. I don't know. Do ducks eat ticks?
They go more for like mosquito larvae and stuff that's in the dirt, in the mud.
Yeah, I found them slugs the other day. I found some slugs.
Yeah, they like that.
Yeah. They like those. And apparently, who knew? Did you know that geese are vegetarians?
I think I knew that. Like I said, I know they need grazing.
Yes. But I didn't know that they will, but they don't eat bugs.
Oh, interesting.
So ducks are more like for slugs and stuff, and geese are more for weeding.
Okay. Makes sense.
They'll eat hay.
Yeah. Well, that's why they have like they're almost like teeth in their bills.
Mm-hmm.
It's so they can like tear up roughage.
Right.
I have these like wooden cages that I got them for chickens. So they're 3 foot by 3 foot. They're supposed to be like individual conditioning pens for show chickens. And I was mainly using them for either bantam chickens, or I had too many extra roosters, and so I threw a couple of them in there. But now they have turned into cages for the Californians, or at least the bulk of my Californians. Well, one of the pens, they're three cages wide, and I've got the Serama chickens in the cage over here, and the middle is my oldest Californian buck, and then over here we put the bantam Barnabutter chicks. Well, apparently, the wire on the back of the cages needs to be stapled, because there's like just enough of a gap between the wood and the wire that these chicks are going into the Californian buck's cage. And like you just see the look on his face, and he's just like, help, like, someone please help me. Meanwhile, he's just laying there, and there's just 4 chicks just like walking all over him. He's like, he doesn't know what to do. And I mean, he's like, let's see. I was pregnant with Simon when we got him. So he's like 5.
Yeah.
So he's just got this sad old man face. Like, he's just...
Yeah, these goats. We put them in the garage when we first got here until we could put something up so they could stay, because it was late and it was raining. And so the kids and Trevor was messing with all of that out there, and the kids and I are in the garage with these goats. They ate tape.
Oh no.
Well, they didn't really eat it, but I mean, they're chewing on tape.
Right.
They got up on the tractor. The tractor is in there. Got up on the tractor and were prancing around on it. Fell off into the bucket. They got on top of the mower deck that's not on the tractor, peed all over it.
Oh
yeah. It's been lots of fun. And then we were letting them run around the yard yesterday. They ate all my berries. They ate my lavender. I had lavender smell all over. They smelled good. At least they didn't smell like goats. What else? They got into something else. And bark. Not stop eating bark.
Oh, well, but, yeah, I've lost a few trees that way.
Yeah, well, our other goats like never did that. Like, I don't know. They weren't browsers like regular goats, I guess, because these, like, they make the whole tin can joke true. Because they even got on a pile of cans outside, and I thought maybe they're in a bag, because we take them to the metal place and drop them off. We have our neighbors give us their cans, because we don't really drink soda, but our neighbors give us their cans, and we pile them up, and then we take them and trade them in.
Right.
And we've got a bag of them out there that needs to go to the metal yard, and they were climbing up on top of it, and I started thinking they're going to get into that and start eating the can.
Mine, before we got the shed, we were using dog houses as like our housing. And the one house, it was originally a duck house, but it had like asphalt shingles on it. They ate the shingles off. They ate one piece of plywood off the roof. We replaced that piece of plywood. They have since eaten the second piece of plywood, and they've eaten one of the walls. And then the other dog house that has a metal roof, they have like peeled, or they're working on peeling the metal off of the doghouse and eating the wood underneath it. Like, we have like logs that they can climb on and play on and stuff. They've eaten the logs. Like, we're down to one log.
We
So
made
at least with
a.
the shed, they can't eat the roof because they can't get on top of the roof.
Well, that's
But-
good. We made a little thing for them to jump up on out of a door and some sawhorses until we can put something else out there for them. And then one of my kids took a Tupperware tote out there. So they're playing on that. But we had them out and they jumped. We had firewood, which apparently we need to put more on the porch. And so there was bark from where the firewood had sat.
Oh,
And
right.
they were just munching. That's where the bark came from. Because we don't have trees. So.
Yep.
Fun
They do
times.
that. Yeah.
Oh, well, like I said, our other goats wouldn't even look at grass. I'm not kidding.
Because what were they? They weren't Nigerians. They were a mini breed, right?
They
What
were
the other
miniature
ones?
Nubians.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Never.
I think Nubians in general are less of troublemakers than like my Nigerians are all troublemakers.
Well, apparently these are all troublemakers. These are alpines.
Are they pure alpine?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I suspect that my matriarch is is alpine and Nubian. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, alpine and Nigerian. And she was, when I was actually like milking her, she was giving me half a gallon a day.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She said that that these should give like close to or a little over a gallon a day.
Yeah. So that's good.
That's a lot of milk.
Yeah.
And I double checked, none of them are related. So
that's good.
They can all be.
But yeah, that's like if you're not sharing the milk with any kids, then you end up getting more. I've always dam raised mine, and that's one reason I need to build a stall in my goat shed, is so that when I have babies, I can lock them in there overnight and then milk in the morning so that I get more milk.
Right. That require that you milk though.
That requires me to milk.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to
to
get a milker. I think I'm just gonna have to get an actual milker. Some of my girls have nice big teats, and some of them have teeny tiny ones. So.
That's why we got the miniature Nubians as opposed to the Nigerians, because I didn't want super small teats.
Right.
And the miniature Nubian that we had that was in milk they were decent sized. I could, fit my hand on them and actually milk her. So
that's good. Yeah, that's
these are full size. So
yeah, I have a couple of girls like that have. I mean, they're a lot easier to milk, but it was just that repeated action. It just.
Yeah.
I'm getting old and I don't like it. Same. Or I just haven't taken care of myself up to this point, and so therefore
probably a little bit of both. Well, you didn't roll your ankle today, did you?
No. I did have to go after loose goats.
Yeah.
But and it's like I could hear one kid crying. And I think it was a kid that was still in the pen they were supposed to be in, crying because all of its friends were not there.
Oh.
And I look out and I see a brown goat in an area where there should not be any goats. And not on my property. Like, my neighbors, they fenced in their horse paddock, but then they left like an acre on the back of their property that's still wild.
Oh, okay.
So these goats had gone, and it butts up against my back paddock. So they had crossed into the back paddock and then went through the fence to go into that wild area, and were eating all the stuff in there. The downside is if a predator is going to grab them, they're going to grab them in that wild area.
No, of course.
So, and I go back there and like, I don't even see all the babies, but they see me. And all of a sudden I see all these babies just come pouring out of this area. And then I have one that like keeps looking over there. Like, I think I've got all the kids, and yet one goat still keeps looking. And I start herding everybody back to where their moms are. And here comes this kid out of the brambles that I couldn't even see. And then my dog chased them back and broke her toenail. Because why?
Well,
why not?
Why not? At least you didn't roll your ankle.
At least I didn't roll my ankle today.
Because I got up and that was like the first thing I did. I went to step off the porch and then I tried to catch myself
Mm-hmm.
and I twisted my knee like the wrong direction, back underneath me. And Trevor's in front of me. It's dark out. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's dark out. And he comes running back because he heard me fall. And at this point, I know I'm going down. So I put my hands behind me. I mean, I'm almost on the ground anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So at least I didn't bust my butt. But then he's holding out his hand to help me up. And I'm like, I need to sit for a minute. I cannot get up yet.
Was it slippery or?
No.
I'm just clumsy.
Clumsy. Yeah. I just went to step off the step and just didn't do it right, I guess. And then I thought I was going to save myself with my other leg, and that didn't work out either.
Is that how you tore up your knee?
Yeah, because I tried to save myself with my other leg.
This episode was brought to you by Kitchen Botanicals, your sustainable gardening headquarters. Stop by kitchenbotanicals.com and get a look at our 2022 seed varieties, as well as supplies and pest control products to help you with your organic garden. 2022 is a great time to take care of yourself with our Pampered Gardener subscription box. Every month, you'll receive all natural self-care products, untreated heirloom seeds, high-quality garden tools, organic garden amendments, cute and practical supplies, and fun products that we know you'll love. This is your opportunity to take care of yourself in the garden. I started the Pampered Gardener subscription box because I had gone through a time of not taking care of myself and dealing with the stress that it put onto my body. I was ill, I was tapped out, and I felt like I couldn't possibly pour any more out of my empty cup. So I created the Pampered Gardener subscription box for women like me who wanted to get back to what they enjoy, but also wanted to love themselves. So we've put together this collection of gardening and self-care products that are geared towards women who love to garden. You'll get things such as gloves, lotion, bags, hats, sunscreen, mosquito repellent, things that you can actually use, but also things that you'll enjoy. And don't worry, there will still be plenty of gardening tools, seeds. We've created a subscription box like no other, by gardeners for gardeners. Order your own box today.
That goat got out when I told you the goat got out.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just eating the tall grass that's around the rabbit hutches.
Yeah.
They have plenty of tall grass. We have grass even though it's 5 degrees outside. So, but she had gotten out and was eating that because the grass is always greener on the other side. She, of course, was not complaining, but the other 3 were in the pen.
Right.
Going crazy because she
was out and they weren't.
Yes.
Well, that's I have one doe that she jumps like a deer, and she's of course one of my taller ones too. And before we ended up having to put electric wire on the inside of their no climb fence because she would stand on the fence and just keep pushing it over until she could get a spot low enough that she could jump it. Well, then once everyone else saw her jumping this one section of fence, then they start jumping it. And of course, every goat that goes over the fence, it ends up getting pushed over and bent down more and more until before you know it, I have every single one of my goats jumping that section of fence. So, yay.
That sounds fun. We have
And
to
I
get
have
new fence.
babies
because
that
ours is
apparently
square.
don't care that the fence is electrified, so they just go through it. And
Well, we have a stupid square fence. And
right.
I
That they
gotta
can stick their heads through.
Mm-hmm. You got to get the other kind, but it works for now.
Yeah, it works.
Use what you got.
Exactly. I mean, they should be fine, but do they still have their horns?
No,
Okay.
but the scab came off of one of them today. And so one of my children was flipping out. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. But when she got them, they were not disbudded. So she just took them to her friend recently. And I guess the buck, he actually had nubs.
Horns. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get them that first week.
But it looks like he's good. It doesn't look like we're going to have any regrowth, I hope. It looks like he's okay. His is all healed over, but the one doe's scab came off overnight. And Marissa was flipping out.
Did it bleed at all?
A little bit.
Okay. It's not
But it
bad,
was
though.
just, no, she's fine.
Yeah. We had one that it was the morning we were supposed to go to a show, and he must have been hitting his head on something, and it busted open, and we could not get it to stop bleeding. Like, I had blood stop powder, and we're putting pressure on it, and it took like an hour. We ended up being late for the show.
Oh my. Yeah, it was nothing like that. It was just like there was just a little bit of blood and
Yeah.
she's like, her head's bleeding. I'm like, no. It's
Well,
just a
and
scab that came
this was
off.
like just a couple days after they'd been disbudded.
Right. I don't know how long ago it was that they were disbudded, but everybody else looks like they're all healed up. She just had some
Yeah,
scab
it sounds
left and it
like
came
it's
off.
probably, like they're probably all almost healed up anyway if it didn't bleed very much.
No, just a little bit.
That's good. Yeah, I did not get any of mine disbudded this round, so all my babies have horns. But it's, some people like them, some people don't, so.
Yeah, she said that she had them disbudded because she doesn't do horns, and that works for me because I have square fence right now, so that would be even worse.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing. Like, my biggest argument for disbudding is I can't guarantee that they're always going to live in a place that has, goat-proof fencing or whatever. So it's, it's better for their safety if they're disbudded. But I actually had a guy.
It can be better for yours too.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've never had a problem with mine that have horns, but if you have some that are already prone to being jerks, then the horns just kind of make it worse.
Right.
But we had a guy get mad at us last week because we were fine with selling him some females because he said he had goats in the past and wanted to start a dairy herd. So we were going to sell him some of the baby girls. But his brother wanted the boys that we have for land clearing. And like, in my opinion, Nigerians are too small for land clearing because most of the people that are going to use them for land clearing are just turning them loose without any predator protection. And not to mention, again, don't know what kind of fence they're going to have wherever he's putting them.
Right.
And so we're like, we don't sell goats to people that are going to do land clearing. And he got all mad and then refused to buy the girls. I'm like, okay, if that's, I'm going to do what's best for my goats, and I'm not going to sell them to someone that I don't feel is going to take the best care of them. So if you're going to get upset about that, then I don't want to sell you any goats.
Right. That kid, he was getting up at 5 every morning to feed this goat her chocolate.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that is some dedication right there.
That's a good kid. Like,
no kidding.
Is he looking for a job?
I told him he could come visit the goats because he's devastated.
Yeah, that's really sad.
But he said that he didn't want to because he thinks it'll be too hard.
Well, how old is the kid?
I don't know. I'd say he's Marissa's age, so probably 11.
Okay, yeah. Still, that's a lot of maturity for.
I know.
Being
it's
able
a lot
to
of maturity
that.
For like a kid under the age of how
18
old now.
That too.
I thought that was impressive though, that he was getting up 5 o'clock every morning to feed the one goat, and then she was just given. Everybody else just eats out of the pan. But the one goat was getting a bottle, and he was getting up and feeding in a bottle every morning. 5
That's
o'clock.
cool.
My kids to get out of bed.
Right. I was just thinking, like, my 4-year-old gets up early so that he can have the electronics before anybody else.
Oh my gosh.
That's the level of dedication that I get from my kids.
I woke them up this morning and told them we were going to go feed the goats, and the youngest got right up out of bed and was all excited.
That's
and
good.
The middle one, not so much the oldest. And then it's funny because last night she's like, I want to feed them in the morning. I want to be the one that does it. I'm like, okay, I'll get you up. And then she's like dragging her butt out there when she gets around to it because preteens are fun.
I know. Luckily mine is he's very money motivated and he's fairly competitive. So if we've kind of made a game out of getting chores done. So now he's like, he wants to get all the stuff done so he can win the prize kind of thing.
Right.
But my 7-year-old is like not. And the minute it starts getting competitive and she doesn't think she's going to win, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I have to, I don't know, find other ways to try to motivate her.
That's kind of like my middle daughter. Like, she's a really bad sore loser. Like,
Yeah.
we'll just play a board game, and if she thinks she's gonna lose, like it gets to the point where it's getting toward the end of the game, and it looks like she's gonna lose, she's like, "We're done." It's a game. Like, it really
Right.
doesn't matter.
Well, now, like my youngest, he gets really upset if he's going to lose, and it's like you don't. One, you're 4, so you're not going to be able to do as many chores as the 11-year-old does.
Right.
And, everybody's got more experience than you. Now, granted, I will try to like get the older ones to let him win, or I'll let him win, or what, but
Right.
when he wants to, win the prize with this whole chore contest thing. So I'm having to like switch things around. So now it's, if you do everything on your list for the day, you get a ticket. And then at the end of the week, we'll pull tickets. So of course, whoever did their chores every day gets the most entries to be able to win, get their name
Right.
out of the hat. So
That's not a bad idea, though.
yeah. Well, yeah, because it was one of those things where, all right, Henry was automatically going to win every week because the 4-year-old just don't do as much as he does.
Right.
So I had to figure out a way that could make it fair for them.
I don't know. I think Anya can run circles around both her sisters. I was cleaning out brooders and cleaning out that goat pen and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting it in buckets, and I was taking it out of the bucket and putting it in the tractor bucket. So I'm just going to dump it. We have like this big cold compost pile that we just pile everything in and turn it once in a while. And she was grabbing the buckets and taking them and dumping them in the tractor bucket.
That's good.
Well, her sisters were like wandering around. She got a broom. She started sweeping. Somebody had spilled sunflower seeds all over the place.
Oh.
I had them all over the garage.
Yeah,
It's a barn.
It's a barn now.
It's now a barn.
He's now responsible for the hamsters and guinea pigs.
Mm-hmm.
But what ends up happening is I actually have to go in there and put the food in all the cages. But then I hand him the water bottles, and he's running back and forth from the bathroom, filling up water bottles and bringing them back. Which at least it saves me having to run back and forth, and all I have to do is... Right. So that's not as bad. And he has been going out with Henry to help Henry feed the goats. And he'll help Elise with the rabbits. But if you just say, like, Simon, I need you to do X, Y, Z, it's not going to happen. He's going to wind up crying on the floor.
I don't know. Anya's at that age where she seems to like to help. I mean, I know they're close in age, but she's at that I want to help you type of age. So I can ask her to do just about anything. And if I ask one of the other girls to do it, she's like, I'll do it. And she'll try to run and beat them to whatever it is I asked them to do.
Well, now I had a lot more of that with Elise than I've had with either of the boys. So maybe it's almost more of a girl thing. Yeah. I think he wanted to help more when he was younger.
Right.
But, again, it's the whole, you're not tall enough to reach anything. So there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, she'll drag chairs and she'll climb on stuff to try to like help me clean out brooders and stuff. I'm like, no, you can't do this part.
Oh, yeah.
But she'll go collect eggs, and our nesting boxes are up almost to the point where they're too high for her. So she has to.
I have to figure out a better setup for our chicken pens because I don't even like going in them because the way, like, when Matt built them, he put our chicken coops were originally tractors, which the wood on the tractor part ended up like rotting and falling off, but we still have the coop. So we just put the coop and then took T-posts and put like no climb fence around the outsides.
Yeah.
But he put the no climb fence too close to the coops. So you have to like turn sideways and shimmy between the coop and the fence to be able to get in there and do anything. And every single time I go in there to try to do anything, I end up ripping my clothes. So, and then the kids don't want to go in there, and Elise is scared of the roosters, and it's like,
oh, my kids are terrified of the roosters right now.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And like most of our roosters aren't even that bad. I've got one rooster that it's a chicken egg type of scenario where the dogs go after him and he goes after the dogs. But I don't know if the dogs go after him because he was the aggressor or if he has become aggressive because the dogs kept going after him.
Right.
But it's like now it's become this thing where if he sees the dogs, he will like run up to the dogs and try to like poof himself up. And then the dogs turn around and tackle him and try to maul him to death. And I went out to feed the horses. So we've divided up the animals now to where Henry feeds the goats, Elise feeds the rabbits, Simon's got guinea pigs and hamsters, and then I feed horses, and Matt has pigs and poultry. We have too many animals. So I went out to feed the horses, and Henry had already gotten the horse feed out, and I was like, all right, where's the horse feed? Well, I've got this little plastic table that it has extendable legs, and I was using it like I was taking it to farmers markets. But right now, the legs are on the shortest setting, and the kids have this plastic chair that like goes with one of their play sets. For whatever reason, this plastic chair is set up next to this plastic table, and Simon's just sitting there like this is his office. And I like, because I go over to check on my plants, and I turn around and I just see Simon just sitting there at this desk, you know, and there's stuff on the table, and I'm like, he looks like he's getting ready to sell something. And so then I ask Henry where the horse feed is. He's like, oh, it's on Simon's desk. So I go to get the horse feed off Simon's desk. Simon like picks it up. Like, I mean, I don't know how he turned this comment, like how he understood this, but he's like, oh, no, I'm selling that. You have to pay me for it. And so he starts fighting me over the horse feed and like is chasing me down because now apparently I owe him $1 because I took the horse feed off his desk. I'm like, how did you put 2 and 2 together? And he's that kid.
He's a smart kid.
My kids are too smart. Like yeah. But the other problem with that is they also like to argue and be sarcastic, and they're basically miniature versions of me. Yeah. Lots of fun.
See, they're minor miniature versions of me mixed with Trevor, and Trevor was a heathen child. And so his mom and I joke all the time that he should be home so that he can deal with the antics that he put his mother through, because I have to deal with it and I didn't have any part of it.
This did not come from me.
No, it's all their dad, especially Anya. She gonna be a heart attack one day.
One day? I'm pretty sure she gives you a heart attack every day.
She's like those goats. She's just into everything.
Yeah. My church is having a spring fling next Saturday. So I'm bringing the petting zoo. So I have to figure out which animals are going. And I'm kind of thinking about taking one of the Great Pyrenees with me. Just because I think it would be kind of a fun, like, hey, look, there's the goat and there's the sheepdog, you know?
Do they? But it's not a sheep, it's a goat.
I can't call it a goat dog. That doesn't sound right.
Well, they're actually called livestock guardians, but hey. Will they behave?
I'm putting it in city slicker terms. She'll behave on a leash.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any problem with her not being friendly. I have a problem with her being
I meant
too friendly.
Wandering around.
Yeah, I'll have to put her on a leash. Otherwise, she'll be into everything. She probably won't go anywhere because she will. Yeah. She was a pet for the first 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Like, I am understanding why we are her third home, because they didn't give her a job. So she's got all these bad habits and she gets mad. Like, I mean, this dog legit has temper tantrums because Matt left with the kids and she didn't realize I was still home. And I hear her in the kitchen, like the trash can's completely empty, but she's sitting there pawing at the trash can to dump it over because she's mad that she got locked in the house when they left. And
My neighbor.
she'll clear the countertops.
Yeah. My neighbor is boarding the lady that we got all these animals from.
Mm-hmm.
Her horse. His name is Joey.
She had a horse too.
She has a horse. No, not there.
Oh, she didn't.
He's
Okay,
been boarding her. She only has a half an acre.
Yeah. Well, I've seen Stranger Things.
Well, yeah. So he's been boarding this horse for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And incidentally, she's my other neighbor's sister. But anyway, we went over to talk to him the other day, and we've been over there several times. So Joey is a great big horse, and he has a personality. And I guess if my neighbor doesn't get out there by 8 a.m., Joey will turn around in his stall and show his butt to him because he didn't get out there in time.
Yeah.
And he likes peppermint candies.
Mm-hmm.
And so my neighbor spoils him with 8 every morning and another 8 every evening. He's got a whole bucket of them in the barn. And of course, my kids think that they're, like candies. And then they realize that they can feed them to the horse. And this is so novel to them. So they're all feeding the poor horse. So he has a diet of peppermint candies.
One of my horses that I ended up buying for myself. I was supposed to be helping sell her. And then I ended up anyway, I ended up buying her for myself. So when I was trying to sell her, there was this one lady who was interested in buying her. But she would get upset because when she would come to visit her, the mare would not meet her at the stall door. Like, she's like, she doesn't like me. I'm like, she's a mare. She doesn't like anybody. Like, it's okay. So, yeah. I tried selling 2 horses for other people and I ended up buying both of them for myself. So I'm not allowed to try to sell horses anymore.
Fair enough. I'm not allowed to go look at geese or any other animals ever again.
I've been told that multiple times.
But it was not my decision. It was Trevor's.
Well, yeah, I've run into that before too.
Because I told him no goats. And he's like, well, we'll see. And so I keep reminding him that this was all him. So, all the antics and stuff.
Well, so when they tear apart his garage, then it can be like, but you're the one who wanted them.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, though. We keep them pinned in that pen. I mean,
yeah,
they can't
that's
get
good.
out.
That's good. Mine would find a
outside
way
the rest
out.
of the day. Well, Hooligan found a way out last night, but I didn't have him pinned in there, and I was getting the rest of them in, and he just wanted his girlfriends, so he thinks he's the man already, and he's a month old.
Now, I'm assuming you'll have a way to separate him so that he doesn't breed them too early?
Yeah. I just haven't done it yet, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think I've got a little bit of time.
Not as much as you would think. Young boys can breed very early. Well,
I think that I have, a day or two.
Okay. You might have a day or two. I've never had problems, even with weaning at 8 weeks. I've never had a problem with accidents at 8 weeks. It's usually when they get like 3-4 months old that we have our accidents.
They'll definitely be separated by then. She said that, and she only had one big area for them to be in. And she's like, oh, I just keep everybody together. And I'm like, then you end up with pregnant does that are like 4 or 5 months old. And then you have bigger problems on your hands.
C-section and
Yeah. So no, he's going to be separated by the time they're weaned.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. He'll have his own doghouse to go in.
I need to build something for my boys, I think, because I had to take away their doghouse because they started pushing it up against the fence. No, well, this is a plastic doghouse.
Oh, okay.
They push it up against the fence so they can jump on top of it and jump over the fence. And we would ratchet strap it to the tree, and they would still figure out a way to get it off the tree.
I'm really looking forward to this.
I can't even say it's the one buck's fault because the other buck, before he got arthritis, he was just as bad. I think the reason he has such bad arthritis in his hips is because of the number of times he jumped over fences to get to the girls. Do we have a lesson to impart for today?
No, we were just talking.
We're just talking.
Get goats.
Or not. Have kids or not.
Get chickens.
Or not.
Ducks.
Hey, the chicks aren't bad. Ducks aren't
Geese.
bad. I don't know. Just get all the things.
Yeah, just, try to help somebody out and get all the things.
Yeah.
Like
not?
me.
Like you.
The fun things that we do.
Follow us for more ridiculous stories from the farm. No.
No, we decided that we were just going to have a chat day because we plan really well.
Well, and honestly, like I said, really, I don't know, at least the last couple of weeks have just been nuts. And so sometimes you just need a little therapeutic chat with adults because we're stuck at home with children all day.
And we have nothing better to do, right?
Yeah.
Except I have to go milk goats.
If you go milk goats, what'd you go?
Milk goats. I have to give milk to goats. I don't know what I'm doing. It's Monday.
I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, I've got an hour till the coffee shop closes. I might just go to the coffee shop for an hour before I have to go home. It's just so I have another hour without having to go home.
I've got to go warm this milk up and give the goats milk because I'm pretty sure Libby is out there pacing. She already knows when it's bottle time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I went in the garage this morning to get chicken feed after I fell on my butt. And then I spilled the chicken feed right outside of the garage. Anyway. And they're in the garage right now at night. So they were in there and they saw me and it was a big ordeal because I didn't have their food. And they wanted their food. They have food. There's food in there, but not what they wanted.
They have pellets or whatever.
And hay.
Yeah.
And some water. They won't drink the water.
They want the bottle. They want the good stuff.
Yeah. They want the milk. That costs a small fortune a gallon.
Yeah, and I just remembered I have birdseed to make birdseed ornaments. And I need to make more. And while my parents were in town, I was like, all right, I'll just take all the stuff over to the rental and I'll make them at the rental. So I haul all the stuff over to the rental. I'm there all week. I never make any birdseed ornaments. So everything goes back in the car, haul everything back home. Well, I took most of the stuff inside. I forgot to take the open bag of birdseed back inside the house. And it fell over. So now I have birdseed in my car. And I need to go vacuum my car out.
I cleaned up most of the chick feed.
That's good.
Most of it.
At least with all of my free range birds, I could just leave it and they would clean it up for me.
See, I have a couple that roam around, like our little Bantam rooster.
Mm-hmm.
When Anya doesn't have him. So it'll eventually get cleaned up by the few that just roam around. But I don't want the mice to clean it up first.
There's that.
And so I cleaned most of it up.
Yeah. I still have all of these. Have you ever heard of kosher kings?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be a meat cross. It's like a barred rock with something else. So you get the hybrid figure. So basically a way for you to produce meat birds using heritage breeds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got a bunch of these chicks. This was during the time where I grew out all these meat birds and then ran out of room in my freezer.
Mm-hmm.
So the roosters have gotten picked off over time. But I still have the hens. And the hens actually turn out to be really good layers. Plus there's nice beefy hens.
Mm-hmm.
But they're free ranging, which means it's an Easter egg hunt to go find all of their eggs. And my dogs usually find them first.
Oh, no.
So the one hen has been laying where we keep the round bale of hay So like we'll get a big round bale, but then we'll just pull it off to feed it to all the animals.
Mm-hmm.
And so now when we go outside, my dogs go like under, because we've got gates up, but they go under the gates so they can go in there and look for her eggs. And then, of course, I walk outside and I hear all this squawking because the hen is pissed off because the dogs are eating her eggs.
See, I don't have that problem because I don't have dogs.
Dogs and free-range dogs and free-range chickens and
No,
free-range children.
Well, the children definitely free range, but the dogs are in the house unless we're outside.
Yeah.
Destiny helped me get the goat back in the pen, though.
My Great Pyrenees are generally outside, although like
Right.
they were inside last night because someone was setting off fireworks in April for some unknown reason.
Okay.
And then Daisy, the Australian Shepherd, is usually wherever I am. So.
And then Norcoda, he's usually hiding somewhere.
Because life is scary.
I guess. Unless there's a ball involved, everything else is scary. So.
Okay. Big bad hunting dog.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
We had fun this week.
Yeah.
And I hope that whoever's listening to our jabber has a great week.
Yes.
No lessons for today.
No, just go chill out and do something for yourself. That's my wisdom for the day.
Call a friend and talk to him.
Yeah. All right. Catch you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Grounded in Simplicity podcast. If we were able to help you in any way, please share this episode with a friend and also leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also join us over on Patreon at Grounded in Simplicity and help to support this podcast, as well as become a patron and get a behind the scenes look at the creation of our podcast and even have some input on future episodes.